when I was at my rock bottom, always felt like I was kind of looked at like the problem person, and it was like, oh, I'm a problem, like it's my fault, like woe is me, like this and that. And like one day it just kind of clicked, and I was just like, dude, I can't keep doing this shit no more. Like I had to be like 28, 29 years old. Like I only have so much time until I won't be able to do anything. So I need to switch my whole shit around.
Welcome back to another episode of the Intrepidus podcast, episode number 25, with your hosts, Dan and Anthony. Today's guest is Tom Jarrah with Wonder Washers. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, yeah. So tell us a little bit about Wonder Washers. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. You have a very detailed logo, the most detailed logo I've seen in quite some time. I do like it. But tell us a little bit about Wonder Washers and how you started.
So Wonder Washers, we are a commercial and residential exterior cleaning company. We do interior windows, so don't let that fool you, but everything else is exterior. It's soft washing, pressure washing, gutter cleaning, roof cleaning, driveways. We even do paver sealing as well, stuff like that. But pretty much anything you could think of that needs to be cleaned, we can take care of that.
Okay, how'd you start?
So I actually started a company called Wonderman Handyman 3 years ago. That was basically where it all stemmed from. I kind of offered power washing as a service, and then it just kind of took off. Everybody loved it. We do it the same way any kind of professional company would do it, and now we separated and we're our own professional company.
Great. So why exactly did you start Wonder Washers? Tell us a little bit about your story. Off air, we were talking a little bit about it, where you came from, what you were doing prior as a career. Then you hit what you called rock bottom. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your story.
So I was a technician for Jeep and Dodge Ram for about 10 years. I was jumping back and forth to different dealerships. Honestly, couldn't even hold the job for maybe about a year. But it wasn't so much because I had a bad work ethic. It was because I feel like I didn't agree with like management and things along those lines as I've learned more about them, how they treated their customers, stuff like that. I just kind of wanted to get out of the automotive field. So I ended up working for a wildlife company for about a year, dipped back into some home improvement because I was doing cabinetry, woodworking, stuff like that right out of high school. So we dealt with that for a little bit, and then it was the same thing. Like about a year in, I realized, they're not treating customers the way I think they should be treated. They're not treating employees the way I think they should be treated. So I was just kind of like, yeah, I got to figure something else out. The rock bottom, though, I had some, depression, mental issues, I guess you would say. I kind of got away from my family, my kids, my hopefully one day wife to be. We went through some rough spots. It's a little hard to talk about, but basically to sum it up, I like just something hit me one day, and I was like, I got to mend what I have while I still have the time. And this was when I was like 28, 29. Now I'm 32. So it wasn't that long ago. Mended our relationship. We figured everything out, Then I kind of was at the point where I was like, now what am I going to do to provide for this family that I got back and I love so much, And the mechanic thing wasn't going to cut it. The wildlife thing wasn't going to cut it. I already kind of knew that if I got into another job with somebody else, I'd probably have an issue with the way somebody was treated or, this or that. So I just kind of shot for the moon and just went and did my own thing as a handyman.
Huh. So I'm sure mending your relationship and going from an employee who was getting a check every week and showing up to work at a certain hour, coming home at a certain hour every week, was a lot easier than mending your relationship and becoming an entrepreneur. And let's just talk about, because I don't even have to ask you, but I could probably assume that through the entrepreneurial 3 years that you've had now, the business ownership you've had in the last 3 years, it's been a lot harder to keep the focus on your promise because now your time is going into building something for your family and your family at times probably feels neglected.
Yes, absolutely. There's you probably even just last night, my wife to be, hopefully, she was getting all upset, being that I had to be out, over the weekend doing a couple late night things for customers, reoccurring clients. But
Snow removal.
yeah, a little bit of snow removal, a little bit of salting.
You gotta tell them ain't no money like snow money.
Yeah, yeah.
So, how old are your kids?
My oldest, Elena, she's 11. I have a son, Nathan, he's 6, and then my youngest, Addison, is 4.
So, why do you really do what you do? Do you do it for your family?
It's all for them. It's not. I mean, the personal goals and stuff that I hit, like running the business. It's a great feeling, but there's no better feeling than to be able to afford our bills and not feel like we're gonna lose a house or not be able to pay for food or anything like that. I did start my business like, oh, I'm gonna have all this time with my family, and I'm sure everybody says that, and it's definitely not like that. It's actually the exact opposite. But the goal is to get to that point.
So, I just want to come to my question real quick. So, can I
You
get?
always are.
Sorry. I like to talk.
Yes, you do. Big D.
If I can give you advice and you're open to it, I think it'll bring a lot of value to your family.
Hmm.
It'll bring a lot of value to the stress that tends to hit your family, the conversation that maybe your wife had with you this weekend. And I want you to answer honestly, but when's the next vacation plan for your family?
I don't even have one planned. I know we do actually. We have we always go to Pennsylvania for some kind of camping or New York or upstate New York. But they've actually been bugging me for something tropical, and I'm kind of like, oh man, is that going to be a lot? Like, how am I going to plan this? How am I going to have the time to plan that? Currently, I don't have anything planned right now, but I would like to get out
Are
there.
we gonna do this right now? Let's set a date right now.
So
We're gonna hold it to it because it's gonna be live on the pod. So
yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna send it to your kids.
You have to.
I'm okay with that.
You have to plan it because when you build up to something,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a lot more value, and it also makes the importance of it that much more, and you get people engaged. So, tropical, Disney. I like talking about Disney because you have young kids. Your kids ever been to Disney?
They've never been to Disney. The girl has never been to Disney either. I've been to Disney twice as a young kid.
So
That's
you're
definitely a goal.
robbing your kids of Disney.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a personal fan of Disney. I went there with my daughter a few times and my kids, and it sucks. But the experience for the kids, especially your daughters, the whole princess experience and all
Yes.
that. So if it's going to be tropical, maybe you go somewhere tropical. But if it's going to be Disney, I think your daughters are of the age right now, especially your older one, like she's 11. Like she's not going to be so much into a princess in 4 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think planning something with your wife, going home today, and you're going to text me and Anthony when you get home, and you're going to let us know what's in the works. And now you sit down and you talk to your wife about it first versus you being the genius behind it. Get your girl, your wife, whatever you want to call her, involved. I'm just going to call her your wife. It's easier. That way you have to marry her. Get her involved. Talk about it. Set a date. The best thing about being an entrepreneur is you don't have to go on vacation in the summer like everybody else.
Right.
So pick a time, whether it's going to be April, May, or you're going to build up to it to be September, October, whatever it is on the off season. That way you're not packed there and you're there. You can actually enjoy your time. Then sit down with your kids maybe this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, cook some dinner at home, go out to eat, whatever, and tell your kids you have a surprise for them. Maybe get an envelope, have them open up an envelope with a picture in it, or here's whatever. You know what I mean? Get something engaging. Then, after you do that, you say, in the next 3 months, 4 months, Daddy's got to work overtime, a lot of time, and we do this because I want to do this for you. And it's not that I don't want to be here, but these are the things I want you to experience, and get them engaged. And if you get them engaged, I'm telling you, bro, it's going to be the most powerful move you can make for your family, because now, no matter how many times you say you do it for them, if they don't feel it and they don't
Right.
see it, you can talk all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a well. Well, first off, about Disney, I did do the princess experience. I don't have any
how was the
kids,
dress?
and I was Elsa, and my dress was blue, and it was fantastic. All right, so highly recommend it. He asked for pictures, so don't let him judge me. But anyway, so yeah, there's two things, right? To what Dan said, there's your vision, and then there's your goal, and you can't reach your goal without the vision first. You know,
Right.
vision is what I expect my life to look like, and what at the end of the road when I walk through it, what does it look like when I get there? And you spoke about it earlier, you know, and I think that this is a good experience and experiment for you personally because of what you said earlier, which was, you know, when I first started this, I said to myself and to my wife, we'll call her the wife, I don't want to go from apartment to apartment anymore. I want to live in a house. I want to buy a house. And you
Right.
did that
Yes.
1 year in, right?
Yep.
That was your goal. You had a vision to get there. You knew what it was going to take, and you did it. Same thing that Dan's asking you right now, to set a goal for, you know, some leisure, some time that you earned, and so does your family.
Right. Right.
Why should your business get all the attention if you're doing your business for your family, but your family's not reaping a reward? You're just doing your business for you, you know. And at the end of the day, we talked about it on the last podcast, that guy that we had here, and you know, we talked about what is success, and you know, success isn't money. It's not building yourself in a company. It's not making yourself a title. You do success for different reasons, because I'm telling you, if your kids were on the other side of a building and it were a 800-foot drop, you're going to do anything you can to get on the other side of that building. But
Right.
if your customer's on the other side of the building and your family feels like you're more willing to get across for your customer than they are for you them, I mean, that's, you know, stirs a situation. So I would ultimately like figure out what you guys want to do, make it important, get your whole family engaged. Snow season is a very hard season to manage. You're not going to manage it. You could like have plans to go out to dinner and it snows and you got to go out there. I've been in the snow game for many years, and it's always unexpected. And if they say it's going to be 1 inch, it's 20 inches. If they say it's going to be 4 inches, it's no inches. So
Yeah.
your preparation's never there. But preparing yourself and your family for the ultimate goal is what's important. So that brings me to, what does success mean for you?
Success. I mean, I don't even feel like I've reached the goal of success yet, and I don't think honestly, I don't think anybody's gonna, or I'm ever gonna reach success. To me, I like to set the goal, like you were saying. Like I set the goal to get my house. Now I got the house, but I don't say, okay, great, I hit my goal. I just keep setting more and more goals to try to continue to feed that need to complete a goal.
What is your ultimate like? If someone to say, what makes Tom successful? Like, you know, you look in 20 years down the line. What do you look like 20 years down the line? What does Tom and his family look like?
I think you mean as far as like where I'd be at like in 20 years?
Yeah, like your expectation right now, right? You went from nothing to having three plus employees right now. I consider that success in its own way, but what is to bounce off of what Dan had said? 20 years from now, there's an unsuccessful Tom and a successful Tom. What does successful Tom look like?
Successful to me would be being able to be out of the office or be in the office only when needed, you know, and being able to spend more time with the kids and the family.
Now you're talking.
That's
right.
really what the end goal is.
Because your initial statement was like, this goal for my company, this goal, and be here. That's not success.
Right.
You are doing what you're doing for a purpose. Your purpose is your ultimate success. If that purpose grows, that purpose becomes fulfilled, it's not about you having 10 trucks, 30 guys, the biggest company in the world. It's about being able to leverage my time, which is the most valuable thing in my life, and to know that my kids know that I fought tooth and nail to get to a place where now I'm present, I'm available, I could do everything for them and with them. There was short-term sacrifice, but for long-term gain. But your long-term gain cannot be like next company goal, next company goal, next company goal. Your purpose feeds your goals. Your goals become accomplished to feed your purpose.
Right. Yeah. I look at it as like a step, like stepping stones to get there. You know, like sure, it'd be great to have like 30 trucks, but
No,
that's
it
not
sucks.
that's not my goal. You know, like I just want to have that stuff there just so I can spend the time with my family and I don't have to personally be out there because I'll have the guys, I'll have the manpower and equipment to handle more work, do, you know, whatever needs to be done. And I mean, we do, you know, $1 million houses on the islands all the time. Window cleaning, house cleaning, whatever it is. And you go to these houses and they got nice cars, they got, you know, beautiful houses, but I can tell you right now a lot of the time we get calls, you know, I need to get my house cleaned up for Memorial Day. I'm having all my family over, like 42 people.
The day
I
before.
want that.
The day before.
Yeah, yeah.
know
Seriously,
that life.
it's a lot of day before. We'll probably have like 10 houses to do the day before Memorial Day. But I don't look at like their life like I want this big house, I want these nice cars. Sure, it's be nice, but I want that time with my family. I want to be the house, the home base for all of our other family too to come to for holidays.
Why
and
not
stuff
create
like that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. You don't want 30 trucks. You don't want 20 trucks. You don't want 10 trucks. You don't want 30 employees. It's a fucking adult daycare center with glorified children.
Don't fucking listen to him, all right? I have 30 employees, and it's fucking great.
It's different, but his operations
me.
are different. You're in a totally different world though. Like in this world of being hands-on and selling and doing this, it sucks because you have to oversee everybody, especially being in this type of industry. What I would say is if you got 3 good guys, try to find 5 over the course of the next 5 years. Maybe whoever your 2 or 3 best guys are, offer them an opportunity for either a partnership, separate. Like they could become, like you could franchise yourself. You're the main guy. You offer jobs to them. They can also get jobs, you know, and there's an opportunity there because if you're doing these size houses and you're working in these areas, your time is only so thin. But if you have guys that are performing work that are so well, and you can literally like just take this ship like McDonald's. You know, McDonald's sells more hamburgers than anywhere else in the world because multiple distribution centers, right? So with you're in a very unique space where if you have guys that are great, you offer an opportunity. It's exclusive. It's some sort of franchise maybe or exclusive just to you. They can only work for you. I don't know, but giving people more of a benefit to buy your time back versus like trying to have 10 guys out there and do everything. Because I'm gonna tell you, bro, your head's gonna spin. It's a different industry. He's in a more commercial world, industrial world, and you know, bigger space of different stuff. But for you, it's a hands-on. It's a linear income where it's just like, you know, we go today, we get paid, and he gets customer referrals based on his. So it's a totally different avenue. You are in a space that I was in, and I'm gonna tell you right now, to have all the liabilities of people,
Yeah,
fucking sucks.
it does.
I'm going to disagree. We did 2,500 projects last year. 2,500. Need a lot of people to do 2,500 projects.
No, I'm not saying I'm not, but your space is different. You're in and out in a project 1 or 2 days, you know, like, and it's different.
That's true.
Your space is different.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to be building a revival. If he's working on the island, dude, you're talking about $2, $3, $4, $5 million houses that are going to be based on referrals. He can literally be that guy who's literally just sending guys out all day long that are getting, I don't know what he charges, but let's say he charged $500 a house. He's got on the island. You know how busy that place is. He'll work every single day, and he can have 10 people competing in his space. So at the end of the day, if he's got 5 or 6 jobs going on in a day, and he's making a couple G's, not doing anything, and all these guys are making the money, you know what I mean? It's a different space. It's the same as yours, but it's not full ownership. It's just a different vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, look, I believe in profit sharing models. I mean, to your point, it's all about purpose, right?
Right.
That's what it comes down to, purpose. And I just had did a keynote speaking engagement out in Atlanta around this, right? Like, purpose is prosperity. It's as simple as that, right? And you know, it leads me to my next question. It's like you have done something that others have not, which allowed you to get 3 employees. Like a lot of people don't even get them more than themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they work for themselves, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that either. And that's sometimes a good life. You make your own schedule. You make money when you go out, and that's simply it. But however, those people may not have a purpose except for make money, and the purpose may not have allowed them to increase their workload, which required more people to be working part of the company, right? What separated you, and what purpose did you serve to your customers that allowed you to go from just a sole proprietor or a solopreneur to having multiple employees?
The best thing about being able to employ, a couple people is that all my guys have families. They all have kids. So if I can provide something that I was able to provide for myself as just a one person LLC, to others that are willing to go out and do the same amount of work or put the same like heart into their work as I would, that's a win for me.
I love that.
How do you find those people then? How do you identify them, I should say?
Yeah, well, I'll give a shout out to my guys. One guy, Justin, he came to me last year when I was posting all my videos on TikTok. And then I went to school with him in elementary school, but didn't even know that it was him until the interview process. And I started talking to him, like, yo, you sound really familiar, bro. And he's like, yeah, it's Justin Dill. I'm like, dude, what? I already kind of know you. Like, let's bring it on, see what you can do. Like, we'll figure it out. And then, push forward to like maybe the middle of last year. We started kind of doing painting. He was like, dude, I do this. I'm good at this. I'm good at that. I'm like, you know what, whatever. Cause I don't paint, too much. Like I can roll a roller on the wall, but like cutting edges and stuff, dude, it's going to look ridiculous. But I got him a job. He had a shot and he did an awesome job. And then he also he said, hey, EJ, my brother, which I knew him too. He's also really good at painting. So I brought them both on and they were tackling stuff and they're getting stuff done. And now it's I feel blessed that I was able to. They found me actually. Like I didn't find them. They kind of came to me. And I gave them a shot, and I'm happy I did. I've had my fair share when I first started, and it was kind of like a side gig, and I wasn't even a business. And I brought other employees that I remember from other jobs, and dude, they were shit. I'm I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like they would show up at like 10 o'clock, leave at 2. Like, hey man, I got to do this. I'm like, listen, I get your life happens, but like let's plan accordingly. If I can show up with 3 kids at a job at like 6 in the morning and leave at 8 at night, why can't you do that?
It's a long day.
Yeah, they're not all like that, but
how's having your brother work for you?
It's not my brother; it's his. It's my buddy Justin. Oh. It's his brother. They're both brothers. I call him Team Dilly.
Team Dilly.
Me and my brother have been working together for years. It's tough, like you bump heads, and there's a lot of personality things going on.
Yeah.
He's been, by far, one of my best, but still, there comes times where there's, emotional like. Issues that go through and you guys kind of fight about shit, but
right.
I mean, that's good that they're not fighting.
Yeah, no, they don't fight. I mean, we have our disagreements on things, like, hey man, I don't know if I can do this and that. I'm like, listen, I get you're uncomfortable maybe like drilling a hole here or doing this, but better things come from being uncomfortable than just taking the easy route the whole time. You're gonna grow, and I tell them too, I don't want we can disagree on jobs. We can have different ideas. We can argue. We can tell each other, fuck you, whatever. But at the end of the day, as long as we're still the team that we need to be to get everything done and put all food on our tables, like it's a win.
Yeah, that fellowship and like brotherhood, it's dead. It just doesn't exist in companies. So it's really nice to see that you kind of embellish that.
I try told you to fuck off yet. I thought we were good brothers. I guess not.
No, you got to tell me to fuck off so that we become good brothers.
All right,
yeah, you gotta say you're a fuck face, and I say fuck you, and then like, oh, cool, love you too.
All right. Noted.
So fuck off.
So what do you see? Like, where do you want to be? Ultimately, we talked about success for you, but let's talk about a couple of years from now. Like, what is your ultimate plan for where you believe that you deserve to be? And what are you shooting for? Because your goals were hitting certain goals, and you talked about success being that. But where do you want to be? Let's say just a couple of years from now. Your year 5, the year where most people say you make it or break it in business. 5 years in the business, where do you believe and where do you feel like you want to be?
I want to be thriving in my business. I want to make quadruple what I'm making now. For the business, not necessarily for my pocket. Obviously, my pocket would be great, but. I mean, I just want to see my business continue to scale at a healthy rate. I don't want it to scale too fast. I don't want it to scale too slow. I just want to continue to be able to like put food on the table for the kids.
The bigger the business, the bigger the problems. You know that, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But, you're gonna have, like, as you get bigger and as you start to make more money, you're gonna have people who ultimately are gonna want to beat you up for what you're doing. They're not gonna believe in you. They're gonna talk bad about you. You're gonna lose people in your life. You're gonna go through these stages of where, like, as you try to grow, you have to outgrow where you were to grow into where you want to be. And a lot of people who were a part of your life prior to you even starting your company, I can bet you probably don't talk to some of them right now.
Yeah.
And in the course of the next 5, 10, 15 years, you got to be ready to, like, almost refill the cup, because it's got to get empty and for you to get in that space. You talked before, what I really liked about what you said before, and you could share it with us, is you talked about developing yourself personally. You said, I was a shitty person.
Yeah.
So when you come to realize that you're a shitty person and you want to change, that's huge. And a lot of people never get to that point. So maybe you can, talk to the audience about where you were as a shitty person, why you felt that way, and then what you've changed since.
So when I was at my rock bottom, I wasn't the best father. I loved my kids. I never mistreated them, but I didn't pay attention as much as I should have. I didn't give my wife the time of day. I was cheating. I wasn't the best man to be around, which in hindsight, it's kind of funny because I've always been cheated on my whole life. And and she was the one person that really didn't deserve it. I didn't have good, relationship with my family, like my mother and brother and sister and whatever. I was always felt like I was kind of looked at like the problem person, and it was like, oh, I'm a problem, like it's my fault, like woe is me, like this and that. And I would move, like I moved in with like a friend from work, and I wasn't talking to any of my family or anything, and like there would be it was all fine, when I'm out working and going to have fun with the guys, going to a bar, drinking, smoking, whatever the plan was for that day after work. But when I would get home at night, I would feel alone, besides having my dog. But you'd feel alone, and I missed my kids. I started missing my wife, and I just kind of like one day it just kind of clicked, and I was just like, dude, I can't keep doing this shit no more. Like I had to be like 28, 29 years old. And I was like, I'm already kind of halfway through the life, I'm getting there, like I only have so much time until I won't be able to do anything. So I need to switch my whole shit around. And I just kind of like took the steps of, mending my relationship with the wife. I took full accountability for, all my wrongs and everything. I told her, like, listen, this is my plan. This is how I'm going to change myself. This is what I'm going to do. I went and sought help through like some free, crisis mental. It was like a company that, you could go to, like if you felt suicidal
Got it.
whatever. So, I took those steps. I got the help I needed. I talking to, therapists or whatever needed to be done. Try to kind of get my brain working in the right way I needed it to. I did a lot of procrastinating too as a young kid, and I still do to this point sometimes. But I'm able to pull myself back and be like, dude, you got to get back on track.
Procrastinating. I just put out an episode today about procrastinating, but respect to the one thing you just said through that whole thing, which most people will never do, is you said, I kept myself accountable. And I took accountability, and you realize that you were the problem.
Yes.
We live in such a world where everybody else is the problem, but the person who's actually the problem. And I have a ton of respect for you realizing that the void wasn't being filled because you were the one who wasn't filling it, not because it wasn't available.
Right.
And I think that anyone listening, just hearing that little part of you saying it, is throwing you a ton of respect, because, like I said, most people will never, ever take accountability for your action.
Everyone wants to be a fucking victim today, right? It's
Yeah.
like it's your fault that you didn't know that my pronouns were thee, they, it, she, men, right? That's
Yeah.
just it's just not fair. But the beautiful thing about what you said also is like, well, personally, I believe hitting rock bottom is the best place to be, right?
Yes.
You sit down there, you kick some rocks, you can't go any further down, right?
Yeah.
There's only the way up, only up from there.
Yeah.
And you found that way, and now you use that, you culminate that feeling, and you say, I'm not going back fucking down there. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
People want others to feel bad for them, and when you're at rock bottom, because I was at rock bottom, you know, through my divorce process, like I was in a really shitty spot, and business closed. Like I was building myself back up, and I just felt like, you know, I was shit, man. Like I can't provide, I can't do any of this. But what woke me up is I look around, and when you look around, like, dude, there's so many people that would trade lives with us. Like their lives suck compared to our lives. And then we have the audacity to complain about our life when we have an opportunity, you know, to get up. You know, our last guest, you know, comes from the Indian culture, and he's talking about, you know, how these people work for like $100 a month or something like that. And they're, you know, they're slaves to their nature, and they don't ever have these opportunities. And we have the ability to complain about life. And, you know, you said, you know what, fuck this, I'm not doing this shit no more. And,
Yeah.
you know, you have something that you didn't want to lose, because if you would have kept going down your path, ultimately you would have lost everything that you had in life. And then now you would really see rock bottom. You know, you were literally at the rock.
Yeah.
You
I wasn't
didn't
taking
see rock-
accountability
yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever was happening in my life. And as soon as I switched that trigger, it was like an instant, you know, I'm a completely different person, 360 turn. It's, and I mean, I would tell anybody that's maybe struggling with the same thing. Like maybe you feel like, you know, you're the victim to everything. It's fucking you. Like you are the person that's going to change your life.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to save you.
The reason why you are where you are and you are who you are is because of who you are, you know?
Exactly.
So what keeps you up at night?
Um,
Besides being afraid to go swimming at the bottom of the lake again.
I mean, you know, it used to be, is it going to work? Like, am I going to be able to make the bills or am I going to be able to feed my kids actually now am I going to be able to feed my guys' kids? You know, like we have slow months just like every other kind of company, but a lot of what keeps me up now, it's like, you know, I'm worried about everybody else, not so much me. Like I can ride like $5 in my bank account for a little while. You know what I mean? Like it's mostly the other people. Like, you know, am I gonna have money on my kids' food cards like for school? You know, like stuff like that. I got to make sure I could take care of things like that.
So I think that's your purpose, right? I think your purpose is heavily revolving around the people that rely on you, your workers, your family, but more so your workers, because not a lot of people share that same kind of bond that you clearly feel,
Right.
and share with your team. It's that, you know, you want to make sure that your team eats, and there's always food on their plate, and that is your purpose. I mean,
Yes.
that's why you have done so well, and you continue to do well, and you'll reach all your goals. It's like you're not going to ever give up if you know that you have 3 people now. Maybe it's 5 people. Maybe it's max of 10, like Dan said. I say 50.
I had 20
But-
something once.
I say 150. I'll help you get there. But besides that, yeah, I think that's your purpose, and you haven't even realized it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get a more rewarding feeling. You know, I always love getting that nice check and being able to put it in my bank account, but it's always a better feeling, especially when I know I can, you know, not only feed them, but like also instill something mental in them as well. Like, you know, like just like I was saying, I went through all this stuff. I see some problems that my guys have personally, and I don't mind giving my insight. I tell them, like, don't take this the wrong way, but you need to be better, you know, or, you know, this is the action I think you should take to handle that situation. And I can tell that they actually, you know, they value that as well, because I see them take action, and then they get a good, you know, turnaround from that. And they're like, dude, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm happy. I just had one of my guys the other day, actually. It was, you know, he had a flat tire, and I could tell in his face that there was more to like his situation than just a flat tire. And I went out with I used my triple. I said, don't worry about it. We're gonna take care of you, get you to where you gotta go. And he's told me, he's like, I'm happy I have a good friend. You know, I wish I had this when I was going through my other stuff.
And that's called culture.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to understand that as a business owner. I'm sure you've been there where you're waiting to collect a lot of money, but you got to pay your guys.
I'm in there right now.
And there's never been a time where I haven't paid my people. And I wouldn't pay a subcontractor if I didn't have the money. I wouldn't pay a bill if I didn't have the money and I was waiting on money, but I would always pay my people. And I can't tell you how many people I know that worked for companies and they would wait weeks upon weeks to get paid because the boss had no money, but that boss would be at the bar every day. That boss would do things and, like still have their expensive car. For me, it was always like, take care of your people.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them may never even understand what you're doing, and that's okay. But as long as you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, that's more important. Like, I have other guys who look at me like, have worked for me before, and this guy's got all this money, but I don't have all this money. Like my money it's a revolving door. But one thing I can tell you is you can never say, hey, he didn't pay me, and I had to wait weeks for my check. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Goes a long way. What's your plans for the coming season? I'm sure that the summer is a poppin' season for you guys.
Dude, we have such big plans this season. Actually, for all of 2025. I mean, it's no secret. Like, we're gonna be slammed March, April, May, June, July, like the whole year.
So do your customers, they typically residual, they come back every year?
Oh yeah, most of them would. Yeah, I mean, you occasionally get the customer that maybe maybe they got a bad taste from somebody. Maybe somebody had a bad day. It happens. Maybe they're just price shopping.
How do you maintain that line of communication with your customers? Do you just wait for them to reach out? Do you have some kind of drip campaign that allows you to continue contact with them?
I personally reach out to all my customers.
Okay.
Mostly. I mean, I do, I have a CRM that I use to push messages on deals that we do. I have my social medias that I always tell them if it's a new client, like, hey, make sure you're following us on this and this. We put out deals all the time. I reach out to my customers mostly personally. And I'm always just like, hey, Mrs. Robinson, did you like how the windows came out? In spring, we're doing reoccurring. Are you ready to, schedule this and this and that? It's a great feeling. I have always have customers. They're like, you guys did such a great job. They're so meticulous. We love, Justin, EJ, the other guy, Tyler, send them back, please. This and so I always reach out to them on my own. I try to keep it more personable than just like an automated system. Like, obviously, like I said, I do send out like stuff like that. But like when it becomes something as like, hey, do you want to renew your service? It's me. It's not, just some computer that's coming for your phone or, going emailing you or whatnot. I find that actually when you make it more personable, you get a better return.
Sure.
So we used to do like close down houses and open up houses like for the summer years ago. And I'm a paper planner guy. I talk about it all the time. I used to always have a planner for the next year. And then whenever I would talk to that customer about scheduling, opening or closing their house, I would put it in the planner for next year as a follow-up call. So I can't forget. I don't have to remember, and I would always have it there. That was pretty powerful. But yeah, doing what you're doing, I think if you call, hey, Mrs. Jones, we opened up your house last year. We cleaned all the windows. We did the power washing. We're scheduling now. Like, now's the time, right, to schedule for June.
Absolutely.
We're scheduling now for May and June. If you want to get done before Memorial Day, let me open up my calendar and doing that kind of stuff. You can literally book your entire summer over the next 30 days.
Oh yeah, we already actually have May pretty much booked up on one truck. Like, we maybe have like a week or two left on that one truck, so that's already a step ahead that we were last year. And I mean, that was a mixture of me having to reach out and other customers reaching out, because they reach out right away too, because I'll let them know this is when we're busy. This is the best time to reach out. We usually run a deal. If you want to get the deal, sign up now, and you can book it in June if you want.
Get those repeat customers to give you reviews versus the one-time customer. Get the repeat customers who've used you 2 or 3 times, and make sure in their review they talk about repetitive service. I think that's super powerful.
Yeah, I was actually going to just say when you said that customers are asking for Tyler back or whoever it is, at that point, I mean, I used to use this all the time. Absolutely, I'll do that for you. I need you to do me a favor. Write me a review, 5-star review with his name on it on Google.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. You know, a lot of people easily return the favor. So now that the season's coming up, well, you know, we got a couple months, but people want to get ahead, but be prepared. How would anybody find you for your services?
So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. My handyman's on Google. I do have to work on getting my power washing on Google, which it won't be hard. But you can find us at wonderwashersnj.com. That shows you all of our social links. You can go to our Instagram, Facebook, watch our videos. We do, you know, time lapses of us cleaning houses and educational videos and stuff to kind of educate the customer. You could also just call or text my number, 732-703-2394, and just reach out to us that way too.
Is your personal cell phone and your business cell phone the same cell phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta change
You
that.
gotta
I
change
know.
that. Everyone's always like, "Why do you got two cell phones?" Because when I'm not working, I don't have two cell phones.
Yeah.
You
you know
don't
what I
even
mean?
need. You know what I used to
You
use
can,
is
you can get an automated
Grasshopper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Grasshopper, I think it's called. That's what I used in the very beginning. Best service ever. It's like $10 a month.
Yeah.
You could
It's a
add
no-brainer.
Add an additional number.
Usually when we get busy, I actually have one of my friends' marketing companies. He's the one that actually built my website, does my business cards, door hangers, stuff like that.
SEO. all that
Yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah. We actually set him up for like some the numbers to get forwarded to the receptionist. They'll have somebody answer the phones for me, so at least somebody is answering the phone, because if I don't answer the phone, they might call somebody else.
I have a call center, super cheap too. Like, it might be another option.
Yeah.
They pre-qualify the customer, look at their address, what they're looking to do, and if you want those leads sent to your cell phone, you can get them. You can get them sent to you like as soon as the message is taken. I choose to get them like sent every morning at 8:00. That way, I'm not getting like an influx, and then I just hit everybody up. But that's also a good way. It's super cheap.
Yeah.
For that. But hey, we appreciate you being on the show. Very good insight. Super proud of you for taking accountability and doing what you got to do. Make sure you set that vacation.
Yeah,
for your
definitely.
family.
We're gonna follow up.
I'll make sure I let them know that you guys decided Disney, because I've personally
Well, I'm
wanted to
gonna
go
say
to
it doesn't
Disney.
have-
we
it
need to
doesn't have to
decide
be-
Disney.
it
We need
doesn't
do
have
that.
to be Disney.
We need to do
Talk
that.
to your
That's the
wife.
expensive one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talk to your wife about it. But I think having girls, I mean, you're gonna make them jump in joy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we appreciate you being on. Hey guys, if you're not following us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, go ahead and do so. Helps boost our algorithm. We appreciate you.